Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
The Utes get set for another huge Big 12 game as they square off against Cincinnati. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Hanson Scotty coming up next Tuesday at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Time to talk some Utes with Steve Bartle. Let's hit it.
Covering the Utes better than anyone else. This is Ute Insider Steve Bartle of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Jake.
How are you, buddy? Are you going? You going to be there for game day? I'm sure. Yeah.
Not like early in the morning because that's for like the crazies and stuff. But sounds like there's going to be a lot of crazies up there. So, but I'll be up there, and KSL Sports will all be up there, and looking forward to it. I'm actually headed up to meet with the college game day media personalities right now. So, looking forward to this weekend.
How is Utah faring with game day being here? It's the second time in 3 weeks they've played a huge game on national TV. They looked great against Colorado, not as good against BYU. How are they handling where they are right now in the season with this type of attention?
Yeah, obviously with the two previous big games with Texas Tech, BYU on the schedule, both of those were fought big noon kickoffs. Utah's 0-2 in those matchups, and I think this is an opportunity. ESPN College Game Day coming around this time. For Utah to get the monkey off their backs, essentially. With this game and with this setting, and Utah's done a tremendous job so far of taking care of business against the teams that they should take care of business against, and they've played tight against. Obviously, two of the top teams in the conference in Tech and BYU. And I think this is, a matchup against Cincinnati where the Bearcats are coming into this ranked 17, 7-1 on the season. They ripped off 7 straight wins. They're playing great football. This is the sort of win that Utah absolutely needs to have on the resume. And, in the conference title race, everything sort of hinges on this game. Whether Utah is going to have an actual chance at, making it to the title game or not, it all starts this weekend with Cincinnati.
I don't mean this to be a leading question in any way, shape, or form, but I'm curious to your answer. Who is their best quarterback on the roster right now?
Devon Dampier. Come on, Jake.
I'm just asking. Bird played well last week. That's all. And Ben's been telling me Bird's a better thrower. So that's all I'm asking.
It's a conversation, and I get it. Like, it's with the way that Bird Ficklin played last week, right? I think the most impressive thing beyond the second play of the game, him ripping off a 63-yard touchdown, the most impressive thing about how he looked was just the fact that, he looked like he belonged, right? He looked comfortable. He looked confident. It took him time to kind of settle into the game, right? He started 1 of 7. Got into the game. Once he got his nerves calmed down, he ended up going 9 of 15 the rest of the way, generating 140 yards through the air, 150 yards total. He looked fantastic. And, the offense was easier for him in terms of the passing game and what they were setting up. And he made good decisions throughout the night with the ball. And, he tried to force a throw or two, but I thought really, really he impressed with just how he conducted himself on the field all Saturday night. And, it was going to be important for him to be a true dual threat, and he was exactly that for Utah against Colorado.
Even if Dampier starts, which is what everyone's expecting, do you think they will find a way to get Bird on the field at all? Maybe give him some special opportunities to show what he can do or make plays with his legs? Or is he going to be purely a backup and be off the field?
No, I think it's going to be valuable for Utah to try and get him on the field a little bit more. And with Dampier, my expectation is he is going to start. He's going to be ready to go. And with Bird, now that you've seen him manage a game, a full game, well, I mean, 3/4 of a full game, you can now trust him to just execute some more typical options where, he came into games in situations in the past, and it was sort of predictable what they were going to do with him at quarterback and kind of leaning on the run plays and things of that nature. Now he's got a little bit more confidence. He's got a little bit more probably trust and faith in the coaching staff for him to go out there and execute things. And I think Utah will take the approach of trying to incorporate him. This is Dampier's team, but we can still sprinkle in a little Ficklin throughout the games moving forward. I think that's probably the approach that we see Utah take with this quarterback room.
As far as Cincinnati goes, their quarterback Sorsby is good. I mean, 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. His completion percentage is at 65. So tell me about Utah's pass defense right now. And I know everything about Utah's defense was great last week, certainly. But do you think they're vulnerable to Sorsby at all this weekend?
Sorsby's great. He was a quarterback that I really liked. And going back to last year, watching his film, felt really good about his game and what he was doing with the Bearcats. I just felt like there wasn't a lot around him last year to really help him win games. But in terms of just his ability to lead a team, I came away really impressed with Sorsby from last year. And now that they've added some pieces around him, I thought he was going to take a good step forward this year. I never thought this was in the cards for Sorsby. He's playing tremendously good football. I think he has a 20-1 touchdown to interception ratio on the year. He's added 7 more touchdowns on the ground. He is a fantastic quarterback. And what this offense does with Cincinnati, it's heavy RPO stuff, which sort of helps them eliminate the opportunity for defenses to get pressure on them. You look at some of the numbers in pass protection in Cincinnati, they've limited sacks to just 2 on the year. They've only allowed 2 sacks on the year with a very low pressure rate. I'm blanking on the number right now. But they do a good job of protecting Sorsby and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. And so for me, that's going to be a really important dynamic in this game, is disrupting the timing in that RPO stuff. And what we've seen from Utah's secondary the last couple of weeks, we were having conversations earlier in the year about how rough Utah's secondary looked. And over the last couple of weeks, I think they've really kind of come into form a little bit. They're still giving up plays here and there, but overall, you look at some of the efficiency numbers, and it's highlighted by what Blake Cotton is doing on the outside. He's somebody that we're not talking about enough, but I think he's allowed 3 receptions on, I think, about 13, 14 targets over the last 3 games, and is really doing a good job of just limiting the efficiency, limiting, conversions, receptions, and Smith Snowden continuing to play at a high level. And with him getting away from the offense and focusing more on defense, I think has allowed him to kind of focus on that, obviously, on that part of the ball. And he's elevated his game at cornerback as well. So, Utah's, I think, rounding into form in the defensive secondary, and I think that is going to be a big kind of determining matchup, is Utah's secondary and ability to disrupt timing versus Sorsby and this RPO attack.
Is Utah going to have to put up 30 points in this game? I mean, are we thinking this is going to be a shootout for the Utes, and is that something you think they're going to be capable of against the Cincinnati team?
Yeah, I think, you have to put respect on Sorsby and the way that Bearcat offense is performing. And I think, this is the sort of game where you're going to need to get to 30 points. And, for Utah, when you look at this matchup on their offense against this Bearcat defense, this Bearcat defense, they've got some playmakers. They've got some guys, particularly at linebacker. Jake Golday is probably the top linebacker behind Jacob Rodriguez at Texas Tech this season. Golday is playing fantastic football. He's a big body at 6'4", 240 pounds. He's doing it in all three phases, against the run, as a pass rusher, in coverage. He's really a guy that I think is patrolling the middle of the field really effectively for the Bearcats. With Utah's offense in this run game, it's sort of been, can these opponents stop the Utah rushing attack, right? It's up to the opponent to prove that they can do that. Texas Tech has been really the only team that's stopped Utah's rushing attack. So I think you feel good about that is Utah's run game. And Cincinnati, they play this 3-3-5. It's a bend, don't break type of defense where they're going to allow teams to put together drives and sustain drives, but they really tighten up in the red zone. So that's going to be the key. And Utah's been really good at sustaining drives, at putting together quality drives where they get into scoring position. This week it's going to be about how well do they finish in the red zone. So that's going to be the key. And I like Utah, how they match up. I do think you're going to need Dampier to get the passing game, to establish the passing game, to open up the run game a little bit, because you know that Cincinnati, after seeing Utah run for 422 yards against Colorado last week, you know that their game plan all week has been stop the run, and stop the run at the top of the game plan. So Utah's going to need the passing game to open up some lanes, to provide balance, and just to play complementary football in both phases of the game.
Picking through Cincinnati's defense, they can want to stop the run all they want. Doing it is another thing. Do they have because looking at specifically at their defensive line, Texas Tech's defensive line was so good. I don't know if Cincinnati's that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the test for Cincinnati. They have a fantastic nose tackle in Dante Corleone. The Godfather is his nickname. He's a big body at 6'1", 330 pounds. He's in that 3-3-5. He's the nose tackle. He's the guy plugging it up the middle. And then, their athleticism, their linebackers are really important in kind of containing things on the perimeter. But when you look at how opponents have been able to run against them, there's been balance across the board, across the line of scrimmage, getting to the outside on either side, running it up the middle. And so you feel good about Utah's ability to establish the run and to run against the Cincinnati team. It's just, what is Cincinnati going to do? Because you know that they're not going to come in playing the same defense that they did against Baylor and against Kansas State and against some of these other teams, because it is all about stopping the run against Utah. So what sort of game plan do they come in with, and how prepared is Utah to see any sort of surprises, right? I think last week, Morgan Scalley's defensive game plan was fantastic. It was the right call because it was so aggressive, and I think caught Colorado by surprise. I think Utah needs to be prepared for something similar from Cincinnati this week.
You a YouTube TV guy, Bartle?
I'm not. No, I got Fubo. I've got everything I need on Fubo.
Because I would, if you were a YouTube TV guy, I would assume you're missing Disney Junior a lot right now. But since you're not, you're all right. Steve, we appreciate you and all of your fine work. Thanks for jumping on with us.
I appreciate you, Jake. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Steve.
That's our buddy Steve Bartle.
Just glad he put my name in there this time.
Well, he only said hello to me.
I know. The heck, pal.
What? Your feelings hurt?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Big time.
Oh, no, I think you should get over it. I don't think it. How about Steve saying that Dampier is the best quarterback on the roster and scoffing, probably the way I asked the question, but scoffing at the idea that he's not.
You have that much experience, he probably should be, and we saw a really nice performance, I thought, from Bird Ficklin against a truly terrible team in Colorado that was outmatched in Salt Lake City. I won't be surprised if Cincinnati also looks outmatched, not because of Bird Ficklin. I don't think we're going to see Bird Ficklin. And in fact, unless it is a 50-14 game, which I don't expect from Utah, though that is what their last 2 home games have been, I don't expect to see him, and I don't think Utah should put him out there. Don't put him out there if you don't have to. Don't risk guys that don't have to be risked, but just establish that Devon Dampier's your guy. You've got 3 more weeks after this, right? Not that many games left in the season. So just play him. He's your guy. You're fine. You've got to win this game, and I do think going into it, he's going to give you the best chance. I don't think you need to set up special series or anything for him. Maybe they will. Get him roll out. Get him to use his speed a little bit. Maybe he can wrong foot you with the throw, like you like to say. But if Dampier's your guy, Dampier's your guy. Go with him.
All right. I don't think it is as cut and dry that he's the better quarterback on the team. I mean, you can say if Dampier's your guy. I mean, I think the reasoning going into that is interesting. But I think if Bird's a better quarterback, then you would go with him. But maybe Witt doesn't think Bird's a better quarterback, which is fine.
I don't know if we've seen anything that guarantees that Bird's the better quarterback, unless you think just the big playability is there for him and it's not for Dampier.
I think it's more there for him.
I think it's possible. He might be faster,
And then if you combine that with he's a better thrower than Dampier, then I don't know why you wouldn't start him.
I will be curious again to see how Utah approaches the running game with the running backs and who gets those carries. Is that Wayshawn Parker, is it Daniel Bray, or is it N'Keary Rogers? Who are they going to go with? Because N'Keary Rogers seems to have fallen out of favor some, which was surprising because the last time Witt really addressed him was talking about how good he had become, especially in some of those short-yarded situations.
All right, Ute fans, it's time for another Utah keyword. Your chance to win tickets to Saturday night's blackout game against Cincinnati. That'd be tomorrow. This hour, the keyword is crimson. Crimson. Text it to 57500, and you'll automatically be entered to win tickets for tomorrow night's game. That keyword again, crimson, all one word with no spaces. Text it to 57500 for your chance to win. And listen next hour for another keyword to increase your chances of winning. And we're going to pick a winner at the end of the day. So for more details or contest rules, go to KSLSports.com. We'll have more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.